District Health Unit. If you know the 4-digit extension of the person or program you are calling, enter it now. Otherwise, please select from the following options. You may enter your selection at any time. Press the pound key after making your selection. For information about the flu shot, dial 5701. For our agency directory, press 1. For Health Connection, press 2. For Virtual Health, press 3. For immunizations or vaccines, press 4. For dental and vision, press 5. For environmental health, inspection, or rabies, press 6. For assistance, press 0. To repeat the available options, press 8.
Talk 0, yes.
Good morning, Health Unit.
Yes, this is Gary Thompson calling. I just filled out a survey on the safer consumption sites.
Okay.
Could I talk to someone in that department, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Got a public survey about safer consumption site in Barrie, Ontario. How it saves lives, saves the taxpayer money and stuff. Except for what the Ministry of Health teaches chest compressions.
Morning, Health Connection. Senior Public Health Nurse speaking.
Yeah, this is Gary Thompson calling. I just filled out your survey online about the safer consumption site.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I added a comment. Did you know that millions of people have been taught to deny rescue breathing and give chest compressions for a drug overdose?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Cut right out in the middle of that. I apologize.
Okay. They've taught millions of laypersons all the signs of drug overdose, patients in a coma, labored, shallow breathing, apnea, Cheyne-Stokes respiration, cyanotic, pinpoint pupils, to deny rescue breathing and give them chest compressions, and naloxone and more chest compressions. The federal government, Health Canada, I got an email from Heidi Jackson, the executive director.
Okay.
Health Canada has just removed rescue breathing from their protocols. They're handing out wallet cards to all Canadian citizens, all the signs of respiratory emergency and no rescue breathing. The protocol pre-September 2018 was start with rescue breathing, naloxone, more rescue breathing.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm sure that program's quite familiar with it.
Well, it better stop doing it. They've taught millions of people.
Where it's coming from or what's happening?
It started out in 2011 from Toronto Public Health under orders. The doctor that wrote the medical director is.
Did you put your comment on the survey?
Yeah, and you can look it all up, or you can go to my Twitter @GaryCPR.
Yeah, I can't look up your survey, but
No, it's not my survey. I've been published in the medical journals all about it, trying to stop it. 1,000 doctors went to the legislature, signed a letter, and had to sit down with Kathleen Wynne. It was CC'd to Hoskins, Dirk Kyer, the coroner, the medical officer of health, David Williams, and Jane Fittipaldi. What was her name? The previous health minister of Canada, and told Kathleen Wynne to stop murdering people. They've taught millions of people all the signs of breathing emergency. These are laypersons. They're eagerly following orders. I know of a whole bunch of them in the morgue, non-drug overdoses.
Is it specific just to
Yeah.
to individuals that they use naloxone kits for?
Yeah, it's the take-home.
Or is it like
It's the take-home naloxone kit. But a doctor can't tell the cause of respiratory emergency except give air ASAP, diagnose, treat the underlying cause. Because laypersons don't know if it's a drug overdose or another respiratory emergency. All the signs mimic, a stroke, seizure, right? Diabetic coma.
with the information?
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, laypersons, you don't tell people to do the worst possible thing because they do it. I know parents that have committed suicide because they found out they killed their own children. Withheld oxygen. Because naloxone doesn't always work. Don't rely on naloxone. Oxygen's more important than naloxone. Doesn't always work. You got to stabilize the patient first with oxygen, rescue breathing. Every second you're withholding oxygen, every cell, tissue, and organ's dying of hypoxia. Your blood chemistry becomes toxic. Jeepers, I don't know. I'm just trying to save lives, and I don't know why everyone isn't worried. It's causing post-traumatic stress with the police department, fire department, the RNs in the emergency department, and EMS, because they're showing up to calls all the time. People damaged from chest compressions they were never to receive, and brain and oxygen deprivation. You teach them. They've been publishing it in the newspapers to do that. All the signs.
I personally haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, I've seen it all over the place.
Okay. We just went through our training and still breathing with pharmacists.
Well, it's, yeah, the most important. You got to stabilize it. They've got safer consumption sites in the province, right? I know the people. I'm from Vancouver. I was one of the first people we opened up the first illegal ones in Canada, Vandu, downtown east side Vancouver. It's saving lives. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right? But when you teach these people to do this contraindicated protocol, it's increasing drug use and abuse.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you gave on that survey that you put that comment.
Yeah, and about them, yeah, one of my articles, and yeah, it's all hyper.
You've already followed up with places I would suggest. Like, I'm sure you've already been to.
Oh, I've been everywhere. I'm a student of medicine at the University of Toronto. The Dean of Medicine comes up to me, "You're Gary Johnson. I hear a lot of great things about you. Keep up the good fight." I says, "Dr. Whiteside, you're the Dean of Medicine. Why don't you say something?" She walks away with her hands covering her head. "Gary, it's a monster." I says, "Doctor, you don't throw your women and children to a monster." I got a psychiatrist taking upgrading in my neuroscience class. She says, "Gary's the sanest person in all province trying to stop mass murder." I says, "Doctor, what about you?" She says, "Leave my name out of it." Diana Swain of the CBC. She phoned me up. She's the chief investigator. She phoned me up and says, "We can't talk about that on the air. That's mass murder done by doctors. Put the information up on the CBC's website, on their Facebook, and I'll give it a like right away." The only politician that I've known that said anything was John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, and the medical officer of health, Dr. Barrie Ontario. We had a press conference, and they says, rescue breathing is the most important part. And John Tory, in his little speech after, he says, "Stop killing everybody." It's a no-brainer. A child knows it's wrong. I knew it at 5 years old. He got a breathing problem. You better give him some air ASAP. Anyway, it's utter nonsense.
I'm going to look it up and see what it has to say.
Yeah, it's at Gary CPR. It's on. I sent it. I don't know. Does it have my name attached? It was anonymous.
For the survey that you did?
Yeah. Did I put my email and stuff? I forget.
To a different program in the health unit, and I can't see that. So
yeah. Okay.
And like it goes to the program that's working with the
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And they're trying really hard to get them up and going in that. So
yeah. Yeah, my brother-in-law is an emergency physician up there in Barrie. He's famous. Dr. Darrell Gibeon. He wound up in penitentiary. He got himself hooked on fentanyl. Do you know why? Stress in the workplace. Working with incompetent doctors. And he had stress in his home life, too. In his married life. Which led him to, that stress causes drug abuse. Yeah. He's my brother-in-law. He's wrote a song. He's a musician. He's been going around. He hasn't got his license back yet, but he's going to apply for it. He just told the college, he says, I won't practice. Okay, so we have a sit down. Anyway, so he's been going around the country and telling everybody they're killing everybody.
Is there anything you need me to take for?
Well, I don't know.
Are you just kind of wanting to release the information, or?
Yeah, to spread it far and wide. I don't know. When I took this training, I was the 20th person to take this training. The lies just get bigger and bigger from public health, and they won't stop doing it. They just keep doing it. You know, the police department, one of the doctors phoned the cops on me. So the cop says, "Can you come to the station?" I says, "Sure." The cop says, "I want to shake your hand. You're saving people's lives." Bad news is Dr. Laurie Morrison doesn't want to talk to you anymore. I says, "Well, that's fine by me. She's a nut." Because every policeman has their first aid and knows what they're doing is wrong. Every cop has first aid. Breathing emergency, give him air. He's blue. You better give him some air real quick. Right?
No, yeah.
Cyanotic.
I'm taught so.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, yeah, it's too much fun. I've been trying to stop this.
Working hard at it. And
Yeah, I know, and nobody listens. Well, they know. I watch them make themselves sick. I go to conferences with doctors, eh? It's like the Red Sea parting. They all start shaking. "Oh, there's the guy trying to save my life. Don't look at him. Don't look at him." They're crazy. It's worse than the police department. The thin blue line, the police department won't tell on another cop if he's done something wrong. And the doctors are even worse. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the nurses are paying for it, working under these. Doctors are egotists mostly. Right?
I can't respond to that.
Well, I know them. I know the doctors. Anyway, you have a great day, eh? Because I am.
Okay. I didn't catch your name. Was it
Gary Thompson, GaryThompson. Gary. G. The letter G. Do you want my email address?
No, that's okay. You said Jerry, right?
Gary. Gary.
Yes.
Gary Thompson.
And Thompson with a P or no P?
With a P, ma'am, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, Gary. Well, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
In your fight with it, I hope.
It's too much fun. The executive director, she got canned in January for blowing the whistle on him.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know what they did? They gave her a raise in pay in a different department. You just should be quiet. Well, it's causing more drug use. It's big pharma. I had the general manager of Adapt Pharma, David Renwick. That's intranasal naloxone, Adapt Pharma. He says, "Yeah, I know, Gary. It's the worst thing." But he says, "My hands are tied." I says, "Well, you're going to wind up in a class action suit, because you knew about it one of these days, right?" When it gets found out, some lawyer's going to pick it up because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in the morgue that shouldn't be there. And then you got 10 times that many left with permanent brain damage. Oxygen deprivation. God, I run into it all the time. A father giving his son chest compressions. His son's having a seizure. Another guy, he'd fallen, knocked himself unconscious, blood coming out of his head. I hear the scream go up. I go see what's going on. His good friend, 220 pounds, is pounding on his chest. "Nigel, Nigel." And I says, "Nigel's alive. Don't try and kill your friend." I know. Nonsense. I did a survey. I stood on the corner of Young and Bloor, and I asked 100 people. I says, "You have a respiratory emergency. A, rescue breathing. B, chest compressions." 90% of them said chest compressions. I says, "Didn't you listen to me?" They've forgotten their grade school science, how the heart and lungs work.
So you did the survey, but you do know that there's also there'll be meetings coming up as well?
Yeah, well,
on our website in regards to consumption.
Yeah, I know. When we got him down here. I came from Vancouver 2010. So I joined a bunch of harm reduction group, and they're going, "Well, we should open up a tent like they did in Vancouver." And I says, "Yeah, I'll be right there," because the police won't arrest me because they know that I'm saving lives, even the cops' lives, right? So I go to demonstrations and stuff, and somebody gets hurt in a large demonstration, the cops come and get me. "Go get Gary. He's been to medical school. He knows more than the doctors." Yeah, it's too much fun. They love me.
Well, so I mean, keep your eyes on that website because you probably want to add anywhere correct? So,
Yeah. It's no, well, I could go on for days about harm reduction, right?
yeah.
The Business Improvement Association, if you're getting kickback from them, it's a no-brainer. They're gonna you empower people on the street. You don't kick them around. They'll go around cleaning up, doing needle sweeps and stuff like that. And the cops will love it. That's what happened in Vancouver. Some of the restaurants opened up their back door if they had extra food left over and given it to the homeless, because we did street outreach patrols. Right? That's the best people you can get to do help people that are homeless and stuff, is people with lived experience.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's what they're trying
Yeah,
to
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cops and the BIA in Vancouver got right behind us, yes. Do you know what they do in BC? The Van City Credit Union, 200 people from the downtown east side of Vancouver, they give them 2 years worth of free university education at the University of BC. Do you know what happens after that 2 years? They go back and they all this knowledge, and they help the people down on the downtown east side. Jeepers. Great program.
I mean, I can't reflect or say anything more about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In regards, certainly you did the survey, you've presented some of the things.
Yeah.
You've already accessed all your avenues, you're very knowledgeable on where to advocate.
Yeah.
So, which is fantastic. Hopefully, things change.
Yeah, I know. It's a no-brainer. It's in the Bible. This is supposed to be, like they say, Canada's a Christian country. Well, start acting like Christians. You know, you saw me homeless. You saw me hungry. You saw me incarcerated. You did nothing. You are not part of me. God. Don't kick people around when you're down and out. These are tough times. We've got a premier, Doug Ford. Jesus, he's no minimum wage increase and stuff. Yeah, too much poverty going on.
Yeah.
Doug hates me. I tried to save Rob Fort's life years ago, eh? It's too funny. It was back in 2013. There was a rumor going around that there was a video of him smoking crack. So I went to Toronto Public Health. I says, well, I guess this live human study can't end until somebody kills the mayor if he smokes too much or drinks too much or chokes on the extra gravy or has a diabetic coma or a stroke. Public health doctors started laughing their heads off. Yeah, Gary, kill the mayor. Oh, and you sick puppies. I went over to Rob Ford's office and told him about it. Do you know what Rob Ford says? He says, Toronto Public Health's not in my jurisdiction. I shook my head. I says, do I got to go to Montreal or Windsor to save your life? That's a fool. Anyway, you have a great day, because it's been too much fun.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't live in Barrie, by the way, but, you know, I just filled it up, kind of lied that. I made one little small lie, but, you know, when it comes to saving lives, what the heck? Eh? Have a good one.
That's fine. Okay, you too.
Bye-bye. Ah, too funny. Should all be concerned, because I've taught millions of people to give chest compressions to people who are alive. Your mark's filling up with none. Everybody denying, making yourselves mentally and physically ill. You're being murdered on purpose. No.
The paramedic service is actually very well prepared. They all have naloxone. The most important thing when they get on site is actually ventilation as well as oxygen. But I think what we heard loud...
Because that precise example was used as to whether other first responders should have naloxone, and it was said that that was not the case, that the priority, for example, when the fire department are often the first to arrive, should be on ventilation, as Dr. Yaffe just said. But let me just say this about the
disaster or crisis that comes to affect a big community. What's the one thing that often stands in the way of effective dealing with it? It's different protocols people have, different ways they collect information, different information they have, and the whole idea of this partnership, and I commend those who pulled it together before I got involved, is to get everybody around the table so you can start to produce numbers, that they're collected in a common fashion, that they have protocols that are well agreed upon so that when things get worse, if they do, hopefully not, but when they do, that we actually can deal with this, as opposed to sort of saying, oh my goodness, this person didn't tell me that, or we have a different system here. This is what causes people to lose their lives, quite literally.
That's right, John. Anybody with any respiratory emergency, they're giving them chest compressions.
So what's working with the site? We've reversed over 168 overdoses. 33% have been reversed with naloxone, 67 have been with other means like oxygen or stimulation. We've called 911 for about half of the 33% who only use naloxone. So we try not to call 911 unless we absolutely have to. Again, the community is quite, trepidatious about paramedics and police and things like that. It hasn't always gone well. The first time we had to call 911, it was not a great interaction with them. We've had some great interactions with paramedics. We've had some really horrible interactions. And police, obviously, hasn't always been great. And people have been traumatized by these services. So even if it goes well, that doesn't necessarily mean that people feel okay about it when they walk away, even if that interaction has gone well. So we've tried to avoid that as much as possible. And every supervised consumption service over time has started to use naloxone less and less and less, and oxygen and other things more and more and more. And that's what we had to. And so in the early days, we had to rely on naloxone more, and we found other ways of responding and keeping people safe. The other thing that we can't tell you is we can tell you how many overdoses have happened, but we can't tell you how many overdoses have been avoided. Because when people have a safe place to use and they can take their time, they can measure out their dose, you can start doing it and inject really slowly and wait for it to kick in, and they'll be like, oh, I'm really high, I shouldn't do anymore, I'll take it out. Whereas when people are using it in a public bathroom, they're like, okay, I gotta just do this really quick. I gotta get this in me and get out.